and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. This is part 2 of my Winter Lake series, and in this video we're going to go ahead and add the middle ground bushes and the old dead tree. If you want to follow along with traditional materials, check out part 1 in this series where I have a list of all my paint and brushes that I use, and I mainly use acrylic paint for this style of painting. So the app that I'm going to be using is Infinite Painter for Android, and here we're going to go ahead and use the Leo brush and start making the middle ground island that sticks out in the lake there. And so I want to start with a dark color for the snow, and so you would use probably ultramarine blue and dioxazine purple for your mixtures if you're following along with acrylics. And then here I wanted to go ahead and make the look of the bushes that are on this little island that sticks out here. And so I'm using the Pollock brush in Infinite Painter, and if you're following along traditionally, you can use your acrylic brush and just tap it on the canvas straight on, and that will make the bristles splay out, and you'll be able to get sort of a fuzzy edged look, which is what we want to do there. And you want to go ahead and bring it up above over the mountains because we're making layers here, and we're adding depth to the picture, so you want to go ahead and bring that above your distant mountains. And then here I want to make a shoreline that's right next to all the bushes. So I've added some more blue colored snow there, and you just use ultramarine blue and some white acrylic gesso if you're following along traditionally, and then go ahead and add some white on top there and smudge it together. And you probably use white acrylic gesso with a touch of cadmium orange, and maybe add a little bit of blue because we are kind of going to have that in shadow there, so you want to go ahead and keep the snow not real bright just yet. And then I'm making the shoreline there, and also some clumps of snow and ice that are in the water. And so I'm using a darker color again. You can use dioxazine purple with ultramarine blue, maybe add some burnt umber in there if you're following along with your acrylics. You can even use pastels for this kind of painting. Pastels are really good for, chalk pastels are really good for making snow scenes. And then I wanted to add the snow on top of the bushes now, and so I'm taking a little bit of a whiter color there and tapping it on the bushes. But don't kill all your dark because you want to be able to see the shape of the bushes underneath. So you just want to add little clumps of snow on the top, but make sure that you don't cover all your dark because that shows your shadows. And reflect that into the water. Do the same thing that you did on the bushes on the top, and do that in the water. Maybe not quite as solid because you want it to look a little bit wavy looking. And then here I'm taking some white and making streaks across the reflection, and that gives the indication of ice and snow that's in the water there. And then I want to work on the other little piece of land that sticks out into the lake there, and you can use dioxazine purple and some burnt umber and some blue to make it a darker color there. And then just blend those all together if you're following along with your acrylics. And I'm using the Leo brush to go ahead and make that little island. And then I'm adding some highlights over the dark. And again, don't kill all the dark. And go ahead and smudge it with your finger or a dry brush if you're following along traditionally, or use the smudge brush. And schoolhouse chalk works really well to smudge the snow in this painting here that I'm using, Infinite Painter brush. And then I want to go ahead and make some of the dead twigs and this old dead tree and bushes and they're sort of a burnt sienna color. So I want to go ahead and I was using a dry oil brush there to give that scratchy look, and you can use your bristle brush if you're following along traditionally and just kind of give it a scratchy look on the canvas there. And then I want to go ahead and add the old dead tree, and you can use the Angelo or the Vince brush and just decrease the size of it, and you can use your script brush if you're following along traditionally and just make jagged crooked old branches like it's a dead tree that's lost all its leaves. It may not be dead, but it's winter and it's lost all its leaves. And then just go ahead and make more crooked branches on the end of it there, because in the photo reference you can see it has lots of branches. So go ahead and make some more branches there, and then you can use your dry oil brush to kind of go over the branches and fade them into the undergrowth there. And then you want to take that same brush and reflect it into the water. And everything that you do above the water, you have to kind of make an indication, at least in the lake, of what's below it there. So in other words, you have to make the reflection. And you should probably do it at about the same time, because you have the same paint colors mixed or that you've just selected. Of course, you can always use the eyedropper if you want to get the right color when you're doing it digitally. So it's not quite as imperative that you do it at the same time, but it helps. And then here I'm just adding clumps of snow into the water. You want to go ahead and do that and just kind of smooth them out. And that just gives it more of a indication that there's ice in the water. So this is the end of part 2 of my Winter Lake series. And in part 3, we're going to go ahead and add the final touches to the ice and snow and the water and finish our painting up. So if you're interested in seeing the finale, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching, and thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you later.